You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. Red One is a great Christmas movie. Yes, I said it. And yes, you're a bitch if you disagree. And you know why that is? It's mainly because the amount of people that are just hating on this movie, y'all are just soulless beings. All right, let's just be real. Y'all sound like every other NPC out there that just hates on everything. You think everything is like so fucking terrible. You think everything's gone downhill. That cinema is just, a big cash grab. Everything's a big budget blockbuster that looks like a Marvel movie or that was written by AI. But here's the thing, guys. Maybe some of those criticisms are warranted, but for this movie, I'm sorry, you're just wrong and you sound like a bitch. And honestly, you will always hear a lot of talk about how bad movies are, but here's a better question. Here's a great question from yours truly. Do we ever talk about how terrible audience members are? Like, sit down and honestly ask yourself that. Do we ever really question how terrible audiences are? And if the answer to my great question is no, then you, my friend, are part of the problem. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people these days just don't give a lot of movies a fair shake. They assume the worst in everything. They look at, a movie like this and they're like, oh, this is just another, big budget Hollywood movie that's going to be completely soulless. And you know what? That to me is a very soulless take. And you kind of prove this movie's point because one of the themes in this movie, or one of the struggles with one of the characters that I think it's The Rock's character goes through, is that he has a hard time seeing the good in humanity. He has a hard time seeing the inner child in a lot of grown adults because a lot of people are just assholes. They simply don't care. And the movie kind of highlights this in a very emotional way that I feel like a lot of people are not really talking about. Maybe you have a few movie reviewers that will acknowledge that point, but overall, people are just being complete assholes about this movie and how, it executes certain things. And granted, you don't have to like the execution, but I think the thought of them like trying to, go for that theme or just like kind of highlight a theme of people just not caring about anything anymore, especially around, a holiday like Christmas where, everything's supposed to be fun and exciting and just a time to wind down and hang out with your family and friends. I feel like that's getting very lost on people these days. And I actually like the movie for that reason. I think it highlights something that kind of makes some people very uncomfortable, or it maybe hits a little too close to them. I don't know. But kind of going back to terrible audience members or people that just aren't very receptive to this movie overall and claiming that this is one of the worst Christmas movies that they've seen. I saw a lot of YouTube thumbnails out here that are just like, very clickbaity, saying like, oh, this is the worst thing. You have this one from, I think, this guy named Captain Midnight, who's like saying that this movie is everything wrong with Hollywood. It's like, okay, let's calm our tits down a bit. It's really not that serious. And this movie is honestly not exemplary of that kind of title for a video, or even just like that overall subject matter. There's a lot of things that you can point out that's wrong with Hollywood, or like why it's going downhill. To me, this movie is just not one of those reasons for why Hollywood is crumbling as it is right now. And overall, I just think the hate that this movie is getting is a bit too harsh for my taste. I only think I saw like one or two videos that kind of gave this movie a fair shake. Everyone else was just doing the same NPC talking points. Just hating on it, saying The Rock should retire from acting, and this movie's a big example of that, which is just not the case. I think this movie had enough going for it. I think it was a fun movie, highlighted a lot of things in terms of like, the Christmas spirit and whatnot, just like any other cheesy Christmas movie, especially one developed by Hollywood. And let's not pretend that most people haven't seen something like this, whether that be, from the Hallmark Channel or the Lifetime Channel or the Lifetime original movies. Okay, y'all have seen shit like this. And this is just kind of like more of a, let's just say like a superhero take on the Christmas genre, like a big budget superhero movie, which I don't really think there's anything wrong with that. I think, if you have like the budget to do so, I guess go for it. And The Rock definitely does. And I honestly can't fault him for wanting to do something like this. I mean, who wouldn't? This was a fun movie, and Amazon can, shovel the money to make something like this and can afford to do so, even if it doesn't do so well at the box office. Because for starters, this was technically an Amazon original, so it was supposed to be going to streaming, but they, had a theatrical release for it. And I know it's not doing super well at the box office. It hasn't made back its budget yet. But once it hits the streaming services, or not streaming services, but just Amazon Prime, I think it's going to be Thursday this Thursday as of recording this video. I'm sure it'll make back its revenue. It'll make the money back, and I think it'll be a success for most people. But of course, you have those that are just going to hate on it because everyone else is doing so why the fuck not? It's no different than what those like anti-woke YouTubers do. Like, you know, when some so-called woke product comes out, everybody's on it. They're taking advantage of the viewership because everyone, for whatever reason, is into that shit. But I'm really not. Okay, a lot of people don't even know what woke means. They just think it's something that they deem bad. That means it's woke or whatever, and they feel the need to give out their anti-woke opinion. Even though let's be real, you guys, most, if not every one of those anti-woke YouTubers pretty much share the same opinion as like most libtards do, and their energy is about the same. So they're really not that different from each other. One's just maybe a little bit more obnoxious, and I'll admit, some of these like anti-woke people are just people that just hate on everything in general, just for the views. Some do give out good takes here and there, but overall, it just seems like a very corporate machine, if you will, but less so corporate, just more poor coded. Because that's what a lot of these people sound like. The people that are just complaining about going to see a movie like this. And I saw some people complaining about paying a full movie, like full price or full premium price for a movie ticket. It's like, guys, stop exposing yourself as being poor as fuck, okay? There's like multiple, theater subscription services where you can just basically watch multiple movies for free, and it honestly doesn't cost that much for a month. Like, I'm paying $20 for that AMC A-listers or whatever. Like, I get to watch 3 free movies a week, and it resets after each week you use them. And I think it's a pretty great deal. It saves me a lot of money. And to me, a lot of y'all are just making excuses for your own mediocrity in life. If you really just don't want to, spend any money like at the theater in general, just don't tell people that. Hey, don't expose yourself as poor. It's not cool. You sound like a bitch when you do that, okay? You need to be an elitist like me and just enjoy yourself. Quit being a bitch. Just start watching movies for free, okay? Go get a subscription service if you're a regular moviegoer, and just watch any movie that you want and then go from there. It's not that big of a deal. And one last point I want to bring up before I conclude this entire video is something I already kind of stressed earlier about people that just complain about everything. Just acknowledge how bad things are all the time, the anti-woke crowd. And this point that I'm going to bring up, I'm going to call it basically a female-coded anger from a lot of audience members. Everything is like such an overreaction to something, where somebody will, they'll point out a film they watched and like, oh, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. And I saw an example of this the other day via a tweet that I saw where somebody had showcased the clip from Venom: The Last Dance, aka Peak Cinema, where they showcased the end credit scene with Noel, and this person said, one of the most laughably pathetic things I have ever seen from a major motion picture. And it's like, dude, number one, relax. It's not that serious. And two, something tells me you don't watch a lot of movies, especially bad ones, to even make that shitty opinion. And the last and most important thing that I'll bring up regarding this tweet is you keep Venom: The Last Dance's name out of your fucking mouth, okay? That is Peak Cinema you are talking about, and you have no business making a shitty claim like the one you made in that tweet. But in all seriousness, you guys, let's stop with this like female-coded anger or overreaction to everything you see on planet Earth. All right, let's take a chill pill every now and then and just settle down. It's Christmas. Christmas is around the corner. You need to stop acting like a bitch. Stop taking yourself so seriously and get that stick out of your ass. Life's too short to be acting like a female-coded bitch. But you know what, you guys? That's going to do it for this video. What did you guys think of Red 1? Was it an amazing Christmas movie like I said it is? Also, do you agree with many of the points I made pertaining to Red 1 and just the overall reception that this movie is getting, the negative reception, how female-coded and poor-coded the reception is overall? Let me know in the comments below. And also, if you disagreed with any of the points I made, which, by the way, I am always vindicated on in almost every single video, if you disagree with anything I said, in that case, you can
go complain to your boyfriend.